Okay. So, I am going to be reading the law concerning vows. Then Moses spoke to the heads of the tribes concerning the children of Israel, saying, This is the thing which the Lord has commanded. If a man makes a vow to the Lord, or swears an oath to bind himself by some agreement, he shall not break his word. He shall do according to all that proceeds out of his mouth. Or, if a woman makes a vow to the Lord, and binds herself by some agreement while in her father's house in her youth, and her father hears her vow and the agreement by which she has bound herself, and her father holds his peace, then all her vows shall stand, and every agreement with which she has bound herself shall stand. But if her father overrules her on the day that he hears, then none of her vows, nor her agreements by which she has bound herself, shall stand, and the Lord shall release her, because her father overruled her. If indeed she takes a husband, while bound by her vows, or by a rash utterance from her lips, by which she has bound herself, and her husband hears it, and makes no response to her on the day that he hears, then her vows shall stand, and her agreements by which she bound herself shall stand. But if her husband overrules her on the day that he hears it, he shall make void her vow which she took, and what she uttered with her lips, by which she bound herself, and the Lord will release her. Also any vow of a widow or a divorced woman, by which she has bound herself, shall stand against her, if she vowed in her husband's house, or bound herself by an agreement with an oath, and her husband heard it, and made no response to her, and did not overrule her, then all her vows shall stand, and every agreement by which she bound herself shall stand. But if her husband truly made them void on the day he heard them, then whatever proceeded from her lips concerning her vows, or concerning the agreement binding on her, it shall not stand. Her husband has made them void, and the Lord will release her. Every vow and every binding oath to afflict her soul, her husband may confirm it, or her husband may void it. Now, if her husband makes no response whatever to her from the day, then he confirms all her vows or all her agreements that bind her. He confirms them because he made no response to her on the day he heard them. But if he does not make them void after he has heard them, then he shall bear her guilt. These are the statutes which the Lord commanded Moses between a man and his wife, and between a father and his daughter, in her youth, and in her father's house. So if he did not say anything to her that day, then whatever she made a vow of, then that's going to stand. So, he can't be like, oh, well, let me wait a couple days and then go, I don't think I really like this vow. It's too late then. If he didn't like it, he should have said something on that day. So, so the husbands and the fathers had the authority to either veto pretty much that vow or be like, okay, no, this will stand. So, that was that culture back then. And, and that was from the Lord. The husbands had the authority that because the husbands are seen as the leaders of the house. So that doesn't mean, people take that out of context all the time and take it like, oh, if I'm the leader, I get to, beat up on my wife if she don't do what I say. No, absolutely not. Nothing like that. But the man, as the leader, is responsible for what goes on in his house. So the woman's not going to be held responsible. The man's going to be held responsible. So, like if the woman made a vow and, the husband didn't veto it, if it was just honestly not a good vow, okay, and he didn't veto it right away, then, the husband was responsible for that. So if it was a bad decision, then that's not going to be on the wife's head. She's not the leader. That's going to be on the husband's head. So, you can get mad and be like, oh, well, I don't like the man being the leader kind of thing. But do you really want the authority on your head? Because then if you make a bad decision, now you're responsible. So, yeah, people look at it like, oh, authority. But the ones in authority are the ones that get in trouble if something goes wrong. If you have a position of authority, okay, and something goes wrong, now it's on you. I say my mom, she was in the military, both my mom and my dad. And my mom had people underneath her. If they did something wrong, okay, her superiors didn't go to the people that did something wrong and say, oh, well, you did the wrong thing. No, no. No, they would go to her and be like, they're underneath you. So if they're doing something wrong, that means you didn't train them right. You didn't do something right because they're doing something wrong. Because you're responsible for them. Make sure they do right. So it's kind of like, I'll use this situation as kind of, I guess it applies, but like a big sister, okay? When I grew up, if my sisters did something wrong, then I would get in trouble. Because, oh, you should know better, make sure they don't do anything wrong. But that's how it is, Because when you're a big sister, you're expected to take care of the little sisters. So if they mess up, now it's on you. So, and that's just how it is, even in the workplace, okay? You got managers, and then you got people above them. So if the people on the very bottom rung mess up, the manager is going to get mad at them, but the manager above them isn't going to get mad at the ones on the bottom. He's going to chew out the next down in the rung, that manager, And so it's just how it is. There's a order of authority, and it is what it is. I mean, there's an order of authority in households. There's an order of authority in workplace, order of authority in schools. You got the teachers, you got the counselors, you got the principal, you got, the school board, you got, if you got a problem, you take it to the teacher. That don't work. Next up in line, and you keep going up that ladder because somebody's in authority of them. You always have somebody in higher authority. So, and it is what it is, Now, in today's world, nobody wants any authority. They want to be their own authority and be the one that says, well, I'm responsible for my life. I'm responsible for this. I'm responsible for that. But, do you really want all that? Because like in a household, okay, if the man makes a wrong decision for the family, God's not going to get after the wife and go, oh, well, you made a wrong decision for the family. He's going to look at the husband and go, the husband's going to be like, oh, now I have to answer for this because I'm supposed to be responsible for my family. So, and it just is what it is, So, anyway, I like being a woman. I don't have to have all that responsibility. You know what I mean? My husband, we're pretty much a team. We talk about things, So, but, it's like, there's been times where he had to be like, okay, I put my foot down. There's been times where I've had to be like, okay, I'm putting my foot down in this. A little satisfied foot. But, it's certain situations or things, and but that's how a good marriage works, you know. But when it comes down to it, you know, when it comes to that, you know, level of authority, level of responsibility, like for example, uh, you know, we've never, I can't even think of a bad decision we've made for our family, but, uh, you know, say that we had, okay? Micah would be the one responsible for that because he's the man of the house. Got to be like, okay, Micah, let's talk about this, So, but yeah, it just is what it is. But, and you not like it, if you don't want to like it, that's okay. You don't gotta like it, We don't have to like anything. I don't like bananas. I think they're yucky. But, but they're still good for you. Still have their purpose, in their place. So, my kiddos like them. My hubby likes them, My uncle likes them. So, that might be a stupid analogy, but, it is what it is. But, anyway, we had an interesting night in Oklahoma. There was some tornadoes, and we were in the hallway for a while because it was, south of KC and Norman even, and I'm like, oh boy. So, but everything was okay. We didn't have any, coming to us, but, it was enough storms. We're like, let's be safe. So, anyway, but y'all be safe. Y'all have a great day, a great start to your week. Happy Monday.